I have to be honest with you right off the bat today.
Okay.
I was looking at this stack of notes you brought in, all these articles, theological breakdowns, commentaries, and, usually I'm just so pumped to dive in.
Mm-hmm.
But today,
Mm-hmm.
it hit a nerve. It has been. Well, it's been a week.
Just a week.
Actually, if I'm being really real, it's been a month. Maybe even a year.
I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling.
You know that specific feeling when you walk into your own home, the one place that's supposed to be your sanctuary, your safe zone,
Yes.
and instead of feeling relief, you just feel heavy.
Heavy is a very specific word choice. It's distinct from just being tired, isn't it?
Exactly. It's not physical exhaustion. It's this deep, nagging sense of loneliness.
Mm.
And it's so strange because, we are hyper-connected. I'm surrounded by people digitally. I have family physically, but there's just this weight in the air.
It feels like a spiritual static.
Yes. It feels like the news is loud, the world is chaotic, and when I finally get a quiet moment to pray or just sit in my living room, I feel like my words are just hitting the ceiling.
Bouncing right back down.
They bounce right back down. And it makes you wonder, in the silence of your own house, is anyone actually listening? Is anyone actually there?
That is such a vulnerable and really honest place to start, and I just want to validate that immediately. That heaviness you were describing, it is the epidemic of our modern age. Sociologists talk about crowded isolation.
Crowded isolation.
We are louder than ever, yet spiritually, so many people feel completely cut off. But if I may offer a different perspective before we even begin to unpack these sources,
Please.
that feeling of being alone, it is an illusion.
Illusion. It feels pretty real when you're sitting on the couch at 11 p.m. and the house is just silent.
It feels real, yes. It is a very, very convincing illusion. But the truth, supported by centuries of scripture and ancient history, and the very sources we have on the table today, is that we are never truly alone.
Not ever.
Not for a single second. The sources we're covering today suggest that the silence in your home isn't empty, it's actually teeming with activity.
Teeming.
It's just happening on a frequency we have forgotten how to tune into.
Okay, that gives me a little shiver, but in a good way. It's a nice thought. But how do we move from, that's a nice sentiment, to actually believing it? Because I really want to believe it.
We have to shift our paradigm. We have to move from a materialist view, where only what we can touch is real, to a truly biblical worldview.
And where do we start with that?
We start with the theology of hospitality and subtlety. There is a foundational scripture here that anchors everything we're going to talk about today. It's Hebrews 13, verse 2.
I've heard this one. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers.
Right. For by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Now, I want to camp out on that phrase, without knowing it, for just a moment.
That's the part that always trips me up. Without knowing it?
Of course. In the Greek, the root there is related to lamphano, which implies escaping notice or being hidden.
Hidden.
So let's deconstruct that. When we think of angels, thanks to Hollywood and, Renaissance art, what do we picture?
Oh, the blockbuster movie version.
Right.
Blinding white lights, trumpet blasts, the roof tearing open, wings spanning 12 feet across, a choir singing in perfect harmony.
The spectacle.
It's impossible to miss. If an angel shows up, you expect a spectacle.
We expect special effects. But the Bible, it paints a reality that is much more subtle, much more quiet, and frankly, much more beautiful.
How so?
The verse says we interact with them without knowing it. This implies that they're not just characters locked away in a dusty history book.
Right, or beings that only show up for the apocalypse.
Exactly. They are active, breathing, celestial guardians. They're moving through our hallways. They're standing by our bedsides and watching over our children.
Wow.
They are present in the mundane moments of life, not just the mountaintop experiences.
That's awe-inspiring, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a little unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that while I'm making coffee or folding laundry, there could be a celestial guardian standing right there in the kitchen.
It changes the way you walk through your house, doesn't it?
It really does.
The ancient Hebraic worldview didn't see the spiritual and the physical as two separate boxes. They saw them as overlapping layers.
Overlapping layers.
And our deep dive today is about learning to see that overlap. The mission is to reveal 7 specific biblical signs that angels are present in your house right now.
Okay.
These are the signals that the veil is thinner than you think.
I am so ready for this. I think I need this. I need to know how to spot the overlap.
Before we get to the list, I want to invite you and everyone listening to participate in a powerful act of faith.
Okay.
The source material suggests creating a wall of faith before we even look for the signs.
Practical faith. I like that. What do we do?
It's simple but profound. I want you to mentally or even verbally affirm this. My house is covered.
My house is covered.
It's a declaration. It's setting the stage.
Saying that out loud,
Yeah.
it actually does bring a little bit of comfort.
It does.
It feels like we're doing this together, like a community.
We are. And that safety is where we need to be to recognize the first sign.
Okay.
Because this first sign deals directly with that heaviness you mentioned earlier.
Let's jump in then. The first sign. The supernatural atmosphere shift.
Yes, this is distinct.
Mm.
And we need to be careful here because I know the skeptics and the skeptic in all of us will say, well, feelings change.
Right. So picture this scenario.
Yeah.
You know those days where the tension in the house is just thick?
Palpable.
Maybe you and your spouse had an argument, or the kids were screaming for 2 hours straight, or you just brought the stress of the workday home with you like a backpack.
Mm-hmm.
The air feels heavy, it feels charged, and not in a good way.
We have all been there. The spiritual atmosphere is polluted with stress. It's almost like humidity.
Exactly.
Mm.
But then, and this is the sign, suddenly that heaviness just vanishes.
It's just gone.
It's not that you solved the problem. It's not that you had a glass of wine or took a nap. It's just that 1 minute the air is thick with aggression or sorrow, and the next there is this profound sense of peace watching over the room.
And it defies logic.
Complete.
And that is the key. It defies logic. It is not just shaking off a bad mood, which is usually a gradual internal process. This is an external shift.
So what's the source for this?
The source material points us to Psalm 34, verse 7. It says, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them."
Encamps. That's an interesting word choice. It sounds stationary, like setting up a tent.
It's actually much more active than that. The Hebrew word is chana.
Chana.
It is a military term. It means to set up a perimeter, to lay siege, or to establish a line of defense.
Whoa. So it's not just a campsite. It's a blockade.
Correct. When an angel enters your home, they don't just wander in. They bring the atmosphere of heaven with them. And they're on assignment. Now think about heaven. Does heaven know anxiety?
No.
Does heaven know chaos or stress or bickering?
Absolutely not.
So, when a being from that realm, a being of immense power and authority, steps into your living room to encamp, they displace the earthly atmosphere.
They act as a filter.
Precisely. If you are sitting on your couch, fuming or worrying, and suddenly you can take a deep breath and you feel a sudden, unexplainable calmness, that is the sign.
That's the encampment.
It's not your brain chemistry suddenly fixing itself. It's an atmospheric displacement. An angel is likely standing right next to you, actively filtering the spiritual air.
That is such a comfort. I'm just visualizing that now. It's like in the middle of my own personal storm, there's this guardian standing there, literally pushing back the pressure so I can breathe. It changes how I view those sudden moments of relief. I used to think it was just my brain getting tired of being angry, but this makes so much more sense. It shifts the credit.
It acknowledges that help has arrived. It's like a SWAT team entering a riot. They don't join the riot, they quell it with their presence.
That is a powerful image. Okay, moving to the second sign. This one is fascinating because it's sensory, but in a totally different way.
Yes.
It's the unexplained fragrance.
This one catches people off guard the most because we don't usually associate theology with our noses.
I bet. The source describes it as catching a scent that simply shouldn't be there. For example, smelling fresh lilies in the dead of winter when your windows are sealed shut and there's snow on the ground.
Possible source.
Or getting a sudden whiff of frankincense. Or, and this one is really touching, smelling the specific perfume of a grandmother or a godly loved one who passed away years ago.
And the natural reaction is just confusion, right?
Oh, totally. You're checking for lit candles, you're sniffing the laundry detergent, you're looking around to see if you spilled something, but there's nothing there.
Physically, nothing is there, but spiritually, that's a different story. The Bible makes a very strong connection between the divine presence and scent.
How so?
In the Old Testament, the presence of God in the temple was always associated with the burning of incense, a sweet-smelling savor.
So it's a connection to the temple, to worship.
It's a connection to worship. Let's look at Revelation chapter 8, verses 3 and 4.
Lay it on us.
It describes a scene in the throne room of heaven. It says that the prayers of the saints, that's your prayers, my prayers, are mixed with incense by an angel at the golden altar.
Wow. So scent and prayer are linked.
Intricately. The source material calls this a scent trail.
The scent trail.
Think of it like this. When a person wearing strong, expensive perfume walks through a room and leaves, you can still smell them 5 minutes later.
Yes, the calling card.
Exactly. When angels move between the celestial realm and our realm, they often leave a trace of where they came from. They carry the scent of the sanctuary.
The aroma of the altar.
They carry the aroma of the altar where prayers are processed. So if you smell something sweet and divine, something that brings peace and has no physical source, it's interpreted as God saying, I am making your home a sanctuary.
It's like a little note left on the counter. I was here.
Precisely. It's a reassurance that your prayers haven't hit the ceiling. They've been collected at the altar. It's a multisensory confirmation.
That is beautiful. It makes you want to pay more attention to your environment. Okay, sign number 3. We're talking about sudden temperature shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And before anyone says it, no, we aren't talking about the AC kicking on or a drafty window frame.
We have to rule out the HVAC, yes.
Yeah.
We have to be logical first.
This is more personal.
Mm-hmm.
The source describes it as a sudden warm glow radiating from the inside out.
Yes.
Or conversely, a cool, refreshing breeze that touches your face, specifically while you are praying or in a moment of distress.
It's the physical manifestation of energy.
It feels like a touch, doesn't it? Like when you're crying and you feel that warmth on your shoulder.
That is a perfect description. Let's look at Psalm 104, verse 4.
Okay.
It describes the very nature of angels. It says, God makes his angels winds and his servants flames of fire.
Flames of fire. That sounds intense.
It connects to the Hebrew word ruach, which can mean spirit, wind, or breath. Angels are beings of pure, high-frequency energy. They are not flesh and blood.
Okay.
So when they manifest in our dense physical world, the environment reacts to their proximity. Physics tells us that energy transfer creates heat or air displacement.
So it's almost like a pressure system change in the room.
In a way, yes. If a being of fire, spiritual fire, steps close to you to comfort you, you are going to feel a shift in temperature.
It makes sense.
The source offers a beautiful metaphor for this. It calls that sudden breeze the feather of an angel's wing brushing against reality.
Oh, I love that.
It is physical proof. If you are weeping in your bedroom, feeling completely abandoned, and suddenly you feel that wrap of warmth, that is not your imagination playing tricks on you.
It's proximity.
That is the proximity of a guardian. It is the Lord saying, I am here, and I have sent my servant to stand with you.
Makes me think of all those times I've been curled up on the sofa, just feeling cold on the inside. You know, that emotional coldness? And then suddenly feeling cozy, safe. I usually attribute it to the blanket, but maybe it's something more.
It is always worth considering the more. We are far too quick to dismiss the supernatural as just biology or weather.
Okay, this next one, sign number 4. I have to interrupt the flow a bit because I got really excited when I saw this in the notes.
Ah, yes.
This is divine patterns in numbers.
The mathematics of the divine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the source mentions seeing 11, 11, or 4, 4, 4, 4. I cannot tell you how often this happens to me. I'll look at the microwave. 11:11. I'll grab a receipt. Total is $11.11. I'll be driving behind a car. License plate ends in 444.
It seems to follow you.
For the longest time, I just thought, hey, lucky day, or what a weird coincidence. Or maybe it's that thing where once you notice a red car, you see red cars everywhere.
The Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is this just our brains playing tricks? Or is there something deeper?
That is the common skeptical reaction. But let me gently correct that, or at least offer a shift in perspective based on the theology of creation.
Okay.
That is not luck. That is a divine tap on the shoulder.
A tap on the shoulder.
Think about the creator. God is the master mathematician. The universe is built on fractals, on geometry, on precise physics.
It's all math.
It's all math. From the spiral of a galaxy to the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower. The Bible is full of numerology where numbers carry specific weight and meaning.
Can you give us some examples of what these numbers mean?
Well, the source highlights a few key ones. 7 represents completion or perfection.
Okay.
4 often represents the earth, the 4 corners, stability. 1 usually signifies unity or new beginnings.
So when we see these repeating numbers, what is actually happening?
The source suggests that angels use the language of the universe, these patterns, to nudge us.
Nudge.
Think about the odds of you looking at the clock at exactly 11:11. Not 11:10, not 11:12. It is a 60-second window in a 24-hour day.
It's a split-second alignment.
Exactly. An angel nudges your attention. Look up now. It is an alignment check.
An alignment check. I like that.
And it's a reminder that God is in alignment with your life. It's a way of breaking through the noise of your day to say, pay attention. There's order here. You are not just floating in chaos.
So instead of just thinking cool numbers, I should see it as a message.
Yes, the source encourages a shift in your response. Instead of saying, what a coincidence, try saying, Lord, thank you for the message. Acknowledge the tap.
I'm definitely doing that from now on. It turns a random moment into a connection point. It makes the world feel less random.
It builds intimacy. It turns the digital clock into a prayer prompt.
Speaking of intimacy and innocence, let's talk about sign number 5. The reactions of children and pets.
This is one of the most undeniable signs, in my opinion.
It can be a little spooky if you've watched too many horror movies. You know when a toddler starts waving at an empty corner of the room?
Mm-hmm.
Or the dog stands up, wags its tail, and stares intensely at a spot by the door where no one is standing. My first instinct is usually, okay, ghost.
It feels spooky to us because we can't see what they see. We rely on our adult senses. But notice the reaction described in the source.
Right.
Is the toddler screaming in terror? Is the dog growling with hackles raised, baring its teeth?
No. Usually the baby is smiling or babbling, and the dog looks happy, or at least curious, alert but not aggressive.
Exactly. Host, let me ask you, why do you think children and animals would see these things when we don't?
I guess. They aren't as distracted. They aren't worrying about the mortgage or the grocery list.
That's part of it. The source puts it beautifully. They have uncluttered hearts.
Uncluttered hearts.
They are free from the skepticism and the filters of adulthood. We have spent years telling ourselves that only what we can touch is real. We have trained our brains to filter out the impossible.
They haven't learned that limitation yet.
They see with pure eyes. They are operating on pure instinct.
That makes sense.
And there is a fantastic biblical precedent for this. The book of Numbers, chapter 22. The story of Balaam's donkey.
Oh, I haven't heard that story in Sunday school in years. I vaguely remember a talking donkey, which always seemed like a cartoon. Refresh my memory on what actually happens.
So Balaam is a prophet, but he's heading down a path he shouldn't be on. He's accepting money to curse God's people.
So he's blinded.
He's blinded by greed and ego. He's riding his donkey along a path. Suddenly, the donkey swerves off the road into a field.
And Balaam gets mad.
Furious, he beats the donkey to get back on the road. Then they go through a narrow path between two vineyards with walls on both sides. The donkey sees something again and presses against the wall, crushing Balaam's foot.
Wow.
Balaam hits her again. Finally, the donkey just lies down in the middle of the road. Balaam is beating this animal, completely enraged. But then the Lord opens Balaam's eyes. And what does he see?
The angel.
The angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword. The donkey saw the angel long before the prophet did.
Wow. The animal was more spiritually attuned than the man of God.
Precisely, because the animal had no pride, no agenda, no distraction. So, if the innocents in your home, your pets, your kids, seem to be interacting with an invisible guest, pay attention. Don't correct them. Don't be afraid.
What does the source say about that?
The source says your home has a visitor from a higher frequency.
And the fact that they aren't scared.
That's the clincher. An angel feels like home to a pure soul. They recognize the holiness. It's curiosity, not fear.
So if my dog is wagging its tail at the wall,
It's likely because there's a friend standing there.
that turns the spooky factor into something really sweet. It's like they have a friend I can't see yet. It makes me want to watch my dog more closely.
It serves as a reminder to unclutter our own hearts.
Which brings us to the night shift. Sign number 6. Vivid prophetic dreams.
This is where the protection often happens.
The source calls this the night shift, which I think is such a cool way to put it. Like, the angels clock in when we clock out.
It implies that the work doesn't stop just because we are unconscious. In fact, sometimes the most important work happens then.
Right. And the idea is that angels communicate in dreams well, frankly, that's the only time we shut up long enough to listen.
That is effectively the truth. Think about your waking mind. It is constantly processing doubts, logic, noise, news, to-do lists, insecurities.
A firewall of skepticism.
Our firewall of skepticism is up. But when we sleep, those defenses drop. The logical brain goes offline. That is when the spirit is most receptive.
The source points to Matthew chapter 2, verse 13 as the prime example.
Yes. The story of Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, he's in a dangerous situation. Herod wants to kill the child. How does God get the message to him?
In a dream.
An angel appears to him in a dream and says, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and escape to Egypt."
That wasn't just a weird dream about losing his teeth or showing up to work naked.
No, those are anxiety dreams. We call them pizza dreams.
Right. So how do we distinguish a pizza dream from a prophetic dream? Because I dream weird stuff all the time.
The source offers some criteria. Prophetic dreams feel more real than reality. You wake up and the details are vivid, high definition.
You remember them clearly.
The emotion is palpable. You feel a deep sense of peace or urgency that lingers for days. And the content is usually specific. A figure speaking peace, a warning about a specific path, or standing with a sword of light.
It's a spiritual briefing.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
a great term for it. It's not your brain processing the day's events. It is a download.
So it's about our destiny.
An angel's primary job is to protect your destiny. If you are having dreams that leave you feeling empowered, directed, or deeply comforted, or warned against a bad decision, the angels are working the night shift in your home.
So they're giving us intel for the next day?
They are ensuring you have the intel you need. It makes going to sleep feel less like turning off and more like checking in.
It transforms the bedroom into a war room in the best possible way.
You are being equipped while you rest.
Okay, we are at the final sign, sign number 7, and the source says this is perhaps the most important one and the one we ignore the most.
I agree.
The sudden knowing.
This is the one that saves lives.
I think everyone listening has felt this. It's that gut feeling, that intrusive thought that comes out of nowhere. Check the stove. Call your mother right now. Don't take the highway, take the side streets.
And you argue with it usually. Why would I take the side streets? It adds 10 minutes to my commute. It makes no sense.
Exactly. We rationalize it away. But then, if you listen, you find out later there was a massive pileup on the highway.
Or you'd check the stove and the gas was left on.
Or you call your mom and she had just fallen.
The world calls that intuition. We frame it as a subconscious processing of data or just a gut instinct.
But that's not what it is.
The Bible calls it divine intervention. It's the whisper.
With a whisper.
Angels rarely shout. God rarely shouts. Do you remember the story of Elijah?
Yeah.
He was looking for God in the earthquake, the wind, the fire. But God wasn't in the noise. God was in the small, still voice.
The whisper.
They whisper to our spirits.
Why do they whisper? Why not just, write it on the wall?
Because whispering requires intimacy. It requires us to lean in. It requires relationship. If your home is filled with these moments of clarity, these sudden knowings that keep you safe or keep you on the path of righteousness, it is because you have a celestial security detail.
Celestial security detail.
Perfect.
I feel safer just hearing that.
They never sleep. They are constantly nudging left, right, stop, go. They are navigating you through a minefield you can't even see.
It really reframes those gut feelings. It's not just me being anxious, it's me being guided. It validates that voice inside.
It is guidance, and it is proof that you are valuable enough to be guarded. You don't put a security detail on something worthless. You guard what is precious.
That's the big takeaway, isn't it? That we are precious.
It is.
We've gone through 7 signs. The atmosphere shift, the fragrance, the temperature change, the numbers, the kids and pets, the dreams, and the knowing. And the source says something that really hit me. If you recognized even 2 or 3 of these signs, your house is not just a building. It is a portal for God's glory.
Think about the implications of that. If your house is a portal, then you are living in a sacred space.
Wow.
We started this deep dive with you feeling lonely, feeling like prayers were hitting the ceiling.
Yeah, I felt like I was in a box.
Look at the evidence we just laid out. You are being watched. You are being loved. You are being guarded.
It's all there.
The source reminds us of the story of Daniel.
Daniel in the lion's den. I always loved that story as a kid, but it feels different now as an adult.
Imagine that night, Daniel is thrown into a pit. It's not a zoo, it's an execution chamber. These are starving predators.
It's pitch black.
It is pitch black. It smells of wet fur and death. He is entirely alone by human standards.
And he's old at this point, right?
Yes, he's an old man. He's not a warrior. He's defenseless. But in the morning, the king runs to the pit expecting to find a corpse. And what does he find?
Daniel is alive. Not a scratch on him.
My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions.
Wow.
Why? Because God stood with him in the dark.
That same God.
That same God who stood in the damp, dark pit with Daniel is the same God standing guard over your front door tonight.
Mm.
The lions of this world, depression, fear, loneliness, danger, financial ruin, they are real. We don't deny the lions,
No,
but they have to get past the angel of the Lord to get to you.
that is, I feel like I can breathe again. It's such a relief to think that my home can be a light in a loud, dark world.
You can't.
That I don't have to generate all the safety myself. I don't have to be the security guard.
And you don't. You just have to show hospitality to the presence that is already there. You have to welcome the guest.
So what do we do with this? How do we lock this in? Because I don't want to lose this feeling when this is over.
The source gives us a beautiful call to action. First, be the messenger. If this conversation lifted that weight off your chest, if it made the room feel lighter, share it. Find someone who feels lonely today and tell them, you aren't alone.
Be the angel for someone else, in a way.
Exactly. Secondly, stay tuned in. Subscribe to this way of thinking. Don't let the world numb you back into blindness.
Look for the signs.
Look for the signs. Pay attention to the numbers. Watch the dog. Feel the breeze.
And finally, there was a specific request in the source that I really loved.
Yes, a shared affirmation. We started with it, and we should end with it.
The source asked us to leave a comment, or in our case, just speak it out wherever you're listening, in the car, in the kitchen, on your run.
If you believe that God's angels are in your house right now, if you accept that protection over your family and your mind, I want you to simply say the word, Amen.
Amen. My house is covered.
May the peace of the Lord be with you and your household. Amen.